Hello and welcome back. This is the online version of CMIS422. We're going to pick up right where we left off. Now, I'm assuming at this point that you've already watched the personal message video that I sent out. Otherwise, you'll be a little confused about the hat and everything. Maybe I should just go ahead and talk about the hat. So if you saw the personal message, you saw where I'm going to change my concert t-shirt and my hat for every video. For every class, just to mix things up, just to keep things interesting. So this hat is another Kofi style hat from Eastern Africa. This one is solid black. The other one had a navy and multicolor design to it. And the concert t-shirt for this session is May Day Parade, and it says Forever Emo. So May Day Parade is not a group that I grew up with. This is more your generation than my generation, but my wife wanted to go, and it was at the pageant in St. Louis, and great venue. It was a good show. Enjoyed it. In fact, I love the pageant. If you've never been, if you're over 21, that's the place to go, because they have a separate line if you go through the bar. This is just a pro tip for you. If there's a line of adolescents wrapped around the block, you don't have to get in that line. You just go to the bar on the first floor, and if you're over 21, they'll stamp your hand and let you in that way, and then you can go straight up to the second floor, where typically, for most concerts at the pageant, you have to be 21 to go to the second floor. So all the teeny boppers are on the first floor, packed in, and all the adults are up on the second floor, where we have our own bar and two bathrooms on either side and seating, and it's very civilized. The pageant is an awesome, awesome venue. So that's your having nothing to do with anything tip for the day. But let's talk about 422 stuff. I do expect you to keep up with the reading, just as in the assignment spreadsheet. I'm not deviating from that, at least not yet. Do keep up with your test out studying and prep work, because that can be done online with no problems, so no big impact there. Due to this whole coronavirus thing, as I said in the welcome message, the remainder of class is going to be online. Okay, we're not going to have any more face-to-face sessions for the rest of the semester. This is it. This is what we're doing the rest of the semester. So for exam number 2, it will be on Blackboard. It'll be multiple choice. I'm pushing it out instead of this week as scheduled. It's going to be next week. What I'm going to do is give you a window to take the exam. I'm trying to be just absolutely as flexible as I can to accommodate your varying schedules and such. But if this doesn't work for you for whatever reason, your schedule or technology or anything, just please let me know. What I'll do is I'll open up the exam probably starting on Wednesday the 25th until Friday the 27th, midnight, let's say. So that gives you a nice big window. Now, once you start the exam, you have to go ahead and finish it. You don't have that long that's your window for starting the exam. And then the exam, you'll have 45 minutes, unless you tell me otherwise that you're freaking out by the time limit. But 90% of my students finish within 20 to 30 minutes, typically. So that's the format that you're going to have. Homework 5 is out there on Blackboard. Take a look. Let me know if you need any extra guidance there. And then project deliverable number 3 should just be another status report on your test out material. So again, let me know if you have questions there. What I'm going to do today is just keep us on track. We're going to try to wrap up Chapter 7 on IDPS systems. We got this far last time before spring break, so now we're just picking up with some more info on IDPS systems. I also want to show you some real world, before we kind of get into some of these other definitions. You're going to hear lots of beeps and stuff, just low production value. Before I even get into this, I want to show you some real world examples of IDPS systems, how they're configured. These are systems that you might have to manage once you get out into the workforce. Real world, I'll do this a little out of order, probably starting with some real world stuff. Then other categories of tools, and we'll wrap up Chapter 7 today. There are a lot of videos that I want to show you on IDPS, so technology-wise, this might be a little weird because I'll be showing you the video on the screen, and my microphone will pick up from my speakers the sound from the video. If the sound quality is poor, you can just stop this now and go to this web link on your own to watch separately. But let's try this out. I want to start off with Sophos because this is a very common system, and there's some interesting bits in here that I want you to see. Okay, I want to show you just the first 6 minutes of this video. I know that seems like a lot, but there's some worthwhile stuff in here. Again, Sophos is a popular one. So here, I will kind of fiddle with the volume here to see if I can get it set for you.
Hello and welcome to this third demo here of AWS, where we're going to be focusing on enabling the Sophos intrusion prevention system, the web application firewall, and configuring some site path routing and using the internal and external load balancers as well. So let's go ahead and get started and log in.
Notice the UTM up here, Unified Threat Management.
Again, we set up this Sophos UTM and the VPC and subnets and security groups in previous demos. Okay, let's jump right in and enable now the intrusion prevention system. Now, once you get started with this intrusion prevention system, I recommend you go up and read up on Snort. Snort's an open source intrusion prevention project.
We'll talk about Snort.
And this, as you'll see, the Sophos UTM uses Snort under the hood, but the difference is that Sophos makes it very easy to implement Snort. Snort has a lot of moving parts to it, and it can be very complicated to get set up when you're using services like Barnyard and Pulled Pork. So this Sophos definitely makes it very easy, as you'll see. So we're going to go ahead and click this button here to enable. But the intrusion prevention system is not going to turn on until we click this apply button over here. So what it wants us to do here first is to define our local networks so that it will not pay attention to these local networks when it's doing its packet inspection. But we want to be careful what we define here because we don't want to list the entire VPC, because in our external load balancer is going to be in the outside subnet. So for the outside network, we're only going to want to use the outside address of this firewall.
So notice every firewall has an outside and an inside.
Include all internal subnets from there. So we're going to want to say, we have a definition here from when we set up the internal interface of this firewall. It defined this network here for us. And so we're going to want to go ahead and add the other subnet definitions. And we created these in the other demos, so we're going to say database 12C, or database 2C, 72.16.2.0/24. I'm going to move on down the list of our internal subnets that we have. So we're going to call this one application.
So notice the heavy use of IP addresses for all these definitions.
And these are defined in the VPC that we're using. 3.0, let's say there. And we got two more. We have for services. 2C. We have the 172.16.4.0.
We're about halfway through.
And we're going to go ahead
Hang in there.
Finish up here with the WAN 2C subnet, which is a 172.16.5.0. Okay, now that we have those defined, we can go ahead and click Apply. And the intrusion prevention system is now active. Let's go ahead and go to Dashboard here. Let's take a look at our system.
There's a lot going on.
Now, as you add more and more systems to your cloud infrastructure, your Sophos UTM is going to get busier and busier, and at that point I would recommend upgrading the instance. It is really easy to do. You just shut it down in EC2, change the type to a larger type, and then boot it back up. You can go to,
Sorry about that.
let's see here, you can go to the back to the intrusion prevention system.
Sorry, I was trying to pause this video, and I paused my video, so that's why there's a blip there. On the, let me just back up here. On this screen, sorry about this, production value is very low for this. So CPU, RAM, disk, just notice that an IDPS is just a PC. It's just the definition of a computer from CMIS422 So every computer system has a processor, memory, and input-output. So this is just running on a box that's running Linux. So let's continue
here. And at that point, I would recommend upgrading the instance. It is really easy to do. You just shut it down in EC2, change the type to a larger type, and then boot it back up to give it some more resources to draw on. Okay, so now we can go to, let's see here, we can go to the back to the intrusion prevention system, because we want to enable some more features here. We just turned it on for the basic intrusion prevention, which has these default attack patterns in here. So what's going to happen is incoming packets are going to be scanned for these hex patterns for known attack patterns. And if they match, then the appropriate action is going to be taken here. And it's going to be dropped silently right here. But there are a couple other features we'll want to use that Sophos makes it very easy for us to do. We have some anti-denial of service flooding protection we can add. So I'm going to go ahead and check all three of these. The TCP flood protection, the UDP, and the ICMP. I'm just going to click apply on each of these. As I click apply, they'll take effect. Okay. Then we also have an anti-port scan. Now the IP addresses in Amazon Web Services, since there's so many businesses using this cloud provider now, it's becoming very popular for attackers. And as such, ports are getting scanned. Their systems are looking for vulnerabilities. They're looking to find out what ports are open.
We'll talk about port scanning next. I'll show you how to do that.
See if they can get some information about those ports. But we can protect our systems from that by enabling this port scan detection. And then we'll go ahead and click apply. And then the login on that, we're just going to go ahead and drop the traffic in any port scan. So the Nmap scanning should not work on this.
Okay, you mentioned Nmap. That's what we're going to talk about. And Christmas tree scan. So Christmas tree scan lights up every single port. This is the most basic type of port scanning prevention, and every single IDPS, whether it's Sophos or any other brand, knows how to do this. Okay,
now the intrusion prevention system is now active. We can see that there's been some activity here in the log, and as attacks get prevented in here, they'll show up in this log, and they'll also show up in the the executive report that gets sent out on a daily basis to the email address by default that was entered in when we initially set this system up.
Okay, so notice that everything's logged, just a straight text, and those log files have to be kept up with and monitored. But also, one of the kind of fancy parts of Sophos is this. There's some automation included where you can set it up to automatically send out a report, which makes it a little easier to keep up with the log file. So when you're paying more money for a UTM system like this, these are all free tools, but you're paying money for the kind of overlay. Part of it's the graphical user interface and the prettiness of just being able to click on things instead of typing commands. And the other part is prettier dashboards and prettier reporting. And there is value in that, in getting a clear, easy-to-read report on a regular basis, as opposed to having to sift through the data yourself and create something manually. So it's not that these IDPS systems are doing anything that fancy. They're just automating a lot of otherwise very boring tasks. I wanted to get some pricing on Sophos real fast for you, and you can see how I went to cdw.com, and of course on their main page is a message around coronavirus, but hang on, let me see if I can find some pricing. Alright, this is just an example. I went to cdw.com. This is just one of many technology resellers. Notice that Sophos is a subscription model. This is how they make their money, not off selling you the software or the hardware per se, but this ongoing subscription, because they're the ones, you're paying them, you're outsourcing. You're paying them to keep these definitions up to date and keep the automated reports up to date and make changes over time. Notice that the pricing is in the thousands of dollars, and they also charge based on time period, and then in addition to that, they charge per user. So if you've got 1,000 users, that gets pretty expensive. In fact, what you would have to look at if this were your job is a user a system administrator, or is a user a end user? That I don't know, but I just want to give you a sense of the scale of money we're talking about. It's in the thousands of dollars. Okay, let's go ahead and stop this video here because I don't want these videos to get too long. I'll start the next one immediately, but it does take me some time to push this up to YouTube. So let's pick up here in just a second. I'll show you some more stuff around IDPS systems.